I think a lot of times when we find something that we enjoy doing and then we find that we're really good at it and we show it to somebody else, they say, you could get paid for that. And yes, you can, but there's a way to do it without burning out, without getting tired, and without it feeling like work, even though it may technically be work. It doesn't have to feel like it. Hey guys, it's Caitlin. Welcome back to the channel. As someone that has monetized their hobby, I still find ways to find joy in it, to find passion in it, and still make money from it. And I hope today's video can give you some tips on how to do that yourself. I'm a brand strategist and fractional CMO, but I did not start here. I started my fetus version of my business in 2017, and at that point, I specialized in website design. Yes, website design was my hobby before I monetized it. So in 2017, I was 18 years old and I was on a lot of websites. I was like on the college websites. I was like on different business websites, looking at careers and looking at different things I wanted to do. And I got fed up with seeing fugly websites, just horrible, either hard to navigate or just not visually appealing. And I knew that there was a way to balance both practicality and beauty. So I actually kind of challenged myself to recreate one of the websites I came across. And I don't know exactly which one it was, but it definitely was one that seemed easy enough to make. And I was like, all I had was Wix in a computer and a thought. I had a thought and I was like, I can do this. I can do this for sure. And I did. And then I really found it enjoyable. It was like this jigsaw puzzle. And I was like, how can I make a better website than what currently exists out there? And it was so fun to find the perfect colors, the perfect combination of fonts. So I learned about serif fonts and sans serif fonts. I had to find the perfect stock photos, and that took hours within itself, and it was really fun. And you had to make these like small adjustments, or I had to make the small adjustments on like the button. So like instead of having a square rectangle button, I could round out the corners of the button. And it just changed the look and the feel of the website. I also at that time had an interest in human behaviors, and it was really interesting to see how things we do in everyday life, like reading left to right, how that affected our behavior online. So even on websites, we read left to right, of course, but also because of this, that means that the checkout button is always in the right-hand corner. The contact us button is always in the right-hand corner. The cart is always in the right-hand corner. And a lot of times buttons themselves are in the right-hand corner. So even as you're going down the page of the website, they're always to the right because that's where you naturally expect it to be. And so it's really fun for me to kind of see what the norm was and then see how much I could push the norm and create something that was like an art piece and something that was edgy and kind of bold and different. And none of these websites actually saw the light of day. It was truly just something for me to create, and it was like someone that would just be painting on a canvas. It was my little art piece. After spending hours and hours on designing websites, I remember I designed probably maybe like 4 in the span of like a month and a half. I was really into it. I started to show them to my parents and they were shocked. I had never shown an interest in graphic design or website design or development, and they saw that I was really good at it and that I understood the nuances of what made a good website. So from there, I went on Upwork, as one does, and I landed my first job. It was for a real estate agent out in California, and I don't know how much I charged for it, probably not a lot. And I finally created my first real website. And when I created that first real website, it also kicked off the first iteration of my business, which was Mark Brand Management. So now in 2025, and almost 8 years into monetizing what was ultimately a hobby for me, how do I still find passion in it? How do I still find joy in it? How do I still keep it lively and fun? Well, one, I cherry picked who I created for. And I like to use the word create instead of who I worked for because it truly was me creating. Anytime I create a website, a brand, a new logo, a new business name for a client, it is me creating. And I think work tends to have like a negative connotation with it, but when we are creating, it is truly my brainchild. It is the accumulation of all of my personal experiences, everything that I've seen, things that I find beauty in and find inspiration in, and I'm using all of that to create something that I think would be ideal and beautiful for someone else. So I like to use the word create, and maybe you can adopt this word as well in your line of work. But I cherry picked who I created for. So the real estate agent out in California, one thing about me is that I love to look at beautiful houses. I used to go into like model homes, and I love going into model homes today and just like taking a tour, even though I won't actually purchase. So it was a no-brainer to work for a real estate agent that was selling $2.5 million homes out in California. Of course, I'm going to build a website for you, and I'm going to receive all of those images so that I can organize them beautifully on a website for you. And after him, I worked with a lot of family friends and friends of my own. So I was in college, and in college, everyone is starting a business. And so I was creating websites for my friends. I was creating websites for family friends, and I even created the website for my family business. I only worked with businesses that seemed personally interesting to me. And how this looks today is working within certain niches. And I don't like to say that I specialize in one niche because I just like to do whatever seems interesting to me at any point in time. But I like beauty, and I like fashion, and I like skincare. So I work with businesses that are in those industries alongside other interests that I may have, like education and like technology. And so because my interests ebb and flow over time, my clients and what their businesses and the industries that they are working in ebb and flow over time. And this is how I keep an ongoing interest in my hobby. So I'm not just creating websites for one type of person, and it never gets monotonous. It is always something new, and it's always something interesting for me to work on. The second way that I keep things fun and interesting when monetizing my hobby is side quests. So I still create it on the side for myself, not to add to a portfolio, not to show to others, but just for me. It lives on my computer somewhere in the confines of the motherboard somewhere. But I have websites that have never seen the light of day, and they are not really meant to. It's just somewhere for me to brain dump, just somewhere for me to pour my creativity and my energy into. And a lot of times these side quests have actually been my own website. As a creative, I like fresh ideas, and I mean my own ideas. So I'm not talking about trends, but my own ideas. And a lot of times that canvas is my own website. So if you have seen my website over the couple of years that I've maybe been on YouTube, or if you know me personally and you've watched me grow since 2017, my website changes at least twice a year. And if you go on the Wayback Machine, which I actually did right before filming, you can see all the different versions of my website, and it is just the funniest thing ever because it is truly my little playground. And I'm not talking about I'm changing the colors or I'm changing the banner image, the first image that you see on the homepage. I mean, I'm completely overhauling my website. I'm pouring 3 weeks of like work into it to completely redesign the website and the functionality of it. And it is like my canvas. It is a way for me to still find joy and find play in my work. A fun fact about me is that I actually like to play video games, and I watch these Twitch streamers, and every single one that I have watched at some point has said, I'm going to play this game offline. I'm not going to stream it. And that is their version of doing a side quest. They have video games that they don't play for the public, and they only play for themselves because they have to continue to find joy in something that they have monetized, because video gaming was a hobby for them and they just got really good at it and people liked to watch them play. And so this is the exact same thing that I mean for myself. So I still find play in website design and creating that digital jigsaw puzzle, but I do it on my own time and I do it when I have a need to try new ideas and express myself in a different way. And it's really nice to just create without a deadline or a check or your livelihood tied to it. The third thing that I did to remain passionate about my hobby that I monetized was taking a break. And taking a break can mean actually stopping and pausing, or it can mean scaling back. I mentioned in my entrepreneurship lessons video that I actually don't offer website design to the public anymore. And I only offer it to reoccurring clients and clients that I know I enjoy working with and I love what they're putting out into the world. Sometimes working in factory mode where you're just producing and you're meeting deadlines and you're creating, it can be exhausting, and taking a break allows you to recharge that creative battery. So maybe one day I'll go back to offering website design to the public, but for now I like to keep it to a small audience, and I like to keep it to industries that I know for sure I enjoy working in and I enjoy finding fonts for and stock imagery for and copywriting for. My fourth piece of advice, which I actually was not going to initially include, but I thought that I probably should because it's helped me so much, and that is to find an outlet. So not an outlet that is directly tied to your hobby. So like if you knit blankets, for example, I love using this example, I've used it so many times, but let's say you knit and instead of knitting a blanket and selling it on Etsy, and then your creative outlet is going to knit blankets for children, I think your creative outlet should actually be maybe selling knitting patterns on Etsy or teaching people on YouTube how to knit. My creative outlet is actually YouTube. I get to talk about brand strategy, I get to talk about entrepreneurship and whatever else you guys are so graciously listening to. And when I'm done filming, I actually feel recharged. When you have a creative outlet, you are not allowing yourself to sit on those creative ideas. When you sit on creative ideas, I like to think of it as like a dormant volcano. It's all just inside of you and you're just waiting to explode. And when you do explode, who knows what that is going to look like, or if it's going to be something that you're even proud of or something that you would want to add to your portfolio. But when you have a creative outlet, such as YouTube, you're creating a constant flow, like a river, just a constant flow of ideas, and you're putting it out into the world, and it becomes like a cycle. And so you put out your ideas, you're gonna get new ideas back. And it has been so helpful for me because I get to talk about brand strategies without actually creating a brand strategy, and I'm still helping others create their own brand strategies, or I get to talk about marketing strategies without creating a marketing strategy, or talk about website design without creating a website. And so no, you don't have to physically with your hands create. You can create when you speak. So just start talking about your ideas, and I think you'll find that you actually get more ideas that are starting to generate. I think a lot of times when we find something that we enjoy doing and then we find that we're really good at it and we show it to somebody else, they say, you could get paid for that. And yes, you can, but there's a way to do it without burning out, without getting tired, and without it feeling like work, even though it may technically be work. It doesn't have to feel like it. So something can still be a hobby without you having to feel that it is all encompassing, or that it is going to run you into the ground, or feeling like you're going to get tired of it or get bored of it or lose passion for it. You can still have your side quests, and you can still take a break, and you can still create on your own time, and you don't have to find another hobby to replace the hobby that you monetized. You can still do what you monetized as a hobby whenever you want. I hope this video was helpful and maybe a little inspirational. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Before you go, please like, subscribe so I know you like videos like this, and I will see you next time. Bye!